They demolished my family's 80-year-old bridge with a bulldozer at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. Stood there filming on their phones, laughing while the stones my grandfather laid in 1943 crumbled into the creek. What they didn't know, I owned the only other road into their gated community. Every single one of those 85 houses, and I was about to turn their commute into a very expensive lesson about property rights. See, Darlene Pritchett, HOA president, real estate agent, professional bully, thought she could steamroll a quiet engineer because I wasn't the type to fight back. She was half right. I'm not the type to fight back. I'm the type to win. What would you do if neighbors destroyed something your grandfather built with his bare hands? Drop your revenge strategy in the comments. And before we dive in, where are you watching from? Drop your state or country below. Let's see how far this goes. My name is Garrett Sullivan, 54 years old, third-generation civil engineer, living on 127 acres in semi-rural Pennsylvania, 40 minutes outside Pittsburgh. The kind of place where you wake up to creek water hissing over limestone instead of traffic noise, where your morning coffee comes with the smell of wet oak leaves and diesel from a Dodge pickup that's older than most marriages. The property's been in my family since 1938. My grandfather, Pop Sullivan, bought it during the Depression and built everything himself, including, in 1943, a stone and timber bridge over Blackwater Creek. It connected our land to Old Mill Road, the only route back then to 4 family farms. That bridge wasn't some weekend project. Pops pulled foundation stones from the creek bed, milled the timber himself, forged the iron brackets at the town blacksmith. It took him 8 months. I learned to fish under it as a kid, helped my dad replace planks when I was 16. Every time I drove over it, gravel crunching under my tires, I heard Pop's voice. Build something right, it outlasts you that I'm semi-retired now. Consulting gigs, some land lease income. Widowed 2 years ago, daughter in Oregon. Quiet life. The bridge was the last thing I had from Pops. Then 18 months ago, a developer built Meadowbrook Estates on the old Kovalik farm. 85 homes, $1,600 and up, gated community, with an HOA that thinks it runs the county. They needed a sewage easement across my land during construction. I negotiated, got paid $12,000, everything legal and recorded. Should have been the end of it. Then I met Darlene Pritchett, 62, real estate agent, Tesla Model X, bleached bob, monogrammed everything. Elected HOA president 3 months after moving in, and apparently decided her job was to remake the world in her image. In April, she knocked on my door, no call, no warning, and handed me a certified letter. It demanded I remove my bridge in 30 days, claiming it was an eyesore and a flood hazard per the HOA's environmental study. I read it twice. Ma'am, that bridge is entirely on my property. Your HOA has zero authority here. She smiled like a kindergarten teacher correcting a slow child. Mr. Sullivan, we have documentation showing it's abandoned county infrastructure. We're asking you to comply with safety regulations. Your study is 4 pages from a landscaping company. There's not one engineer's signature on it. The smile tightened. We'll follow up through proper channels. She left. I threw the letter away. Figured she'd give up. 1 week later, 6:04 a.m., I woke to a diesel engine roaring on my land. Ran outside in boxer shorts and boots, no time for a shirt, and saw a bulldozer ripping through my bridge. Stone cracking, timber splashing into the creek, dust and smoke everywhere. I screamed at the operator. He waved me off. Lady said it's county demo. Got a work order. That's my bridge. He didn't stop. Then I saw them. 3 SUVs parked on my access road. Darlene and 2 HOA board members filming on their phones, one of them laughing that I called 911, hands shaking. The sheriff arrived 40 minutes later. Bridge was rubble. The deputy took a report, said it was a civil matter. I'd have to sue. Darlene handed him a folder, calm as Sunday morning. Officer, we removed a hazard. We actually saved the county a lawsuit. I stood there in my underwear covered in dust and realized she didn't see me as a person, just an obstacle to bulldoze through. I walked back to my porch and sat. The smell of crushed limestone hung in the air. The creek ran muddy with debris. And I decided, if Darlene wants to play with property rights, I'll show her what a civil engineer knows about roads, because I just remembered something very interesting about Old Mill Road. I hired a lawyer the next morning, Mitch Kowalski, local guy, handles land disputes. We went to high school together. He took one look at the photos and said, "Garrett, this is the clearest property destruction case I've seen in 20 years." We filed an emergency injunction and a lawsuit for $78,000 in damages, $135,000 reconstruction, $125,000 historical value, $18,000 emotional distress. The sheriff's report was vague, but the county building inspector confirmed what mattered. The bridge was 100% on my property, fully legal, and Darlene's crew had 0 permits. Then Darlene's lawyers filed a counterclaim, arguing the bridge had been public for 80 years, so it should belong to the county under adverse possession. When Mitch read it, he laughed. They didn't do their homework. Adverse possession only applies if you abandon the property. I had 30 years of receipts for bridge repairs, every plank, every nail, every sealant can. My dad always said, paper trail beats memory in court every single time. We submitted the records, photos of private property, signs, tax documents. The judge dismissed their claim in 3 weeks flat. Felt good. But Darlene wasn't done. Her HOA doubled down, hired a fancy Pittsburgh firm, filed a motion calling my lawsuit frivolous, demanded $50,000 in legal fees. Then came their settlement offer. I dropped my case, they dropped theirs, and they'll donate $5,000 to a veterans fund in my grandfather's name. Mitch slid it across the diner table. "It's a PR move," he said. "They'll look generous in front of the judge." I looked at the number. "Mitch, my grandfather spent 8 months building that bridge. They tore it down in 40 minutes and filmed it. Now they want to slap his name on a check." "Yeah," he sighed, "that's the play. Tell them no." "You sure? This could get expensive." "I'm sure." That's when Darlene went nuclear. Facebook posts, gossip, harassment, code enforcement citations, you name it. But she didn't realize I was already building something stronger than any bridge. A paper trail sharp enough to bury her whole empire. Because when you pick a fight with an engineer, you'd better be ready for blueprints, not bullets. Environmental permits being covered up. Long pause. "Mr. Sullivan, if you're serious, I need documentation." I told her I had 400 pages of it. "When can we meet?" she asked. We met the next day at a diner halfway to Pittsburgh. I brought the binder. She brought a recorder and a legal pad. For 2 hours, I walked her through everything. The bridge demolition, the code enforcement harassment, Gisham's conflict of interest, the expired septic permit, Kent's financial records showing embezzlement and fraud. She took notes, asked sharp questions, requested copies of key documents. When I finished, she leaned back, exhaled, and said, "This is a legitimate scandal. But I need to verify some of this independently before I can publish. Give me a week." I told her to take her time, but to be careful. Darlene had friends in county government. Andrea smiled. "Mr. Sullivan, I've been doing this for 15 years. I know how to protect my sources." She published 5 days later. The headline ran online first. County Commissioner linked to developer in land dispute. Ethics questions raised. The article detailed Gisham's ties to Darlene, the fast-track permits, and the campaign contributions from Meadowbrook's HOA PAC, with Darlene listed as treasurer. She held back the embezzlement piece for a follow-up, but the damage was instant. By evening, news vans crowded the courthouse lawn. The ethics board opened an investigation within 48 hours. For the first time since that bulldozer appeared, Darlene wasn't controlling the story anymore. I was. And she had no idea how much more I still had: the road, the expired easement, the pending decomplaint. Lyle texted me that night, "You magnificent bastard. She's spiraling." I replied, "Good. The media firestorm won't last. The real bombshell drops soon." Andrea called Tuesday morning, voice buzzing with adrenaline. "Garrett, I verified Kent's documents. The embezzlement story runs tomorrow. It's going to get ugly." I thanked her and called Mitch. "It's time," I said. While Andrea's piece lit up the internet, Mitch filed 2 documents with the county. Withdrawal of public access to Old Mill Road in 30 days. Non-renewal of Meadowbrook's expired sewage and power easement. Both were legal. Both hit like grenades. Calls poured in engineers, fire chiefs, township supervisors, all panicking about public safety. I gave them the same answer. The road is private. Always has been. Check the deed. By noon, reporters were calling too. Andrea laughed when I confirmed ownership. They tore down your bridge, and you own their backup road. That's poetic. I told her, it gets better. Their utility easement expired months ago. They've been using my land illegally. Panic hit Meadowbrook. Emergency HOA meetings, shouting matches, resignations, property value fears. By Friday, I had the recordings. Darlene's shaky voice trying to calm 85 angry residents. I watched the sunset that evening feeling something new. Control. Infrastructure is power, roads, utilities, access. And I owned them all. Saturday morning, my kitchen became a war room. Mitch, Lyle, Rosalie, Judge Meeks, and Brianna gathered around coffee and legal pads. We talked strategy, not revenge, just justice. My demands were simple. Rebuild the bridge, historically accurate. Written apology in the Gazette. Fair easement payments. Darlene removed from the HOA presidency. Judge Meeks warned, push too hard and you become the villain. Give her just enough face to save. We crafted a precise plan. Public mediation, full transparency, specific terms. $500 per month for 20 years on the easement. Bridge rebuilt by the median of 3 bids. Public apology naming me and my grandfather. If she refused, close the road to residents, but leave it open for emergency services. Then came the escalation, 2:30 a.m., chainsaws ripping through the dark. Men cutting trees on my property. I filmed everything. Police traced the rental truck to Marcus Pritchett, Darlene's son. Mitch advised, don't use it yet. Save it for mediation. Chess, not checkers. But the harassment continued. Prank calls, vandalism, a dead raccoon left on my porch. When township meetings accused me of holding the community hostage, I stood and said, I'm not holding anyone hostage. I'm exercising property rights. Darlene sat in her Tesla, watching me as I left. She didn't look angry anymore. She looked scared. The week before mediation, Ken came to me, fired as treasurer, but armed with evidence. Bank statements, invoices, Darlene funneling over $200,000 to her family. Andrea verified it and published. Meadowbrook HOA president accused of self-dealing. By week's end, the HOA voted to remove her. Residents shouted her out of the room. Friday night, the township hall overflowed with reporters and neighbors. I presented everything, photos, documents, the chainsaw video, the expired deeds. Then I laid out my terms. Rebuild the bridge. Publish the apology. Pay fair easement rates. End the harassment. The room went silent. Then chaotic. After recess, the interim HOA board accepted every term. Formally, publicly. Darlene stood, muttered something about acting in the community's best interest, and left. That was the last time I saw her. Within weeks, the settlement funds arrived, the apology ran, and reconstruction began. By July, the bridge stood again, rebuilt by local hands, stone by stone, just like Pops did. Families came to help. Even Meadowbrook residents joined. At the dedication ceremony, my granddaughter asked why the bridge mattered. I told her, because bridges connect people. That's what they're for. Months later, I founded the Pops Sullivan Trade Scholarship, helping local students pursue engineering and construction. The county improved oversight systems, and Meadowbrook reformed its HOA governance. As for Darlene, she moved to Arizona. Now every morning I cross that bridge with my coffee, watching the creek shine under it, knowing we built something that lasts. And if you've ever fought a corrupt HOA or an untouchable neighbor, tell your story. This community stands with you, because justice isn't loud. It's steady, like the sound of water beneath a bridge rebuilt right.